Yo, Happy New Year. This is W Soul 13, bringing Rage Shadow Legends. And today, we're going to be looking at the 10x event, right? And the guaranteed champ that we get. So, what is the guaranteed champ? We get Rector Drath. So, 4 Sacreds, pretty steep, especially if you're newer in the game or progressing in the game. So who exactly is Rector Drath for, huh? So Rector Drath, what he does is, it's this. Heal all allies, 30% of this chap's max HP, but actually the most important part here is that after healing, he places a perfect veil on all champs for 2 turns, right? If their HP is full. If it's not full, it gives you a 15% continuous heal instead. So Rector Drath is an AoE Veil champ, a perfect Veil too, that is available at Epic. Alright, so this right here is one of the main reasons to get him now. Before, the main reason to get Rector Drath, honestly, was this. Revives a single ally with 60% HP, fills the turn meter by 60%. Why is Revive so important? Because Rector Drath is in Knight's Revenant. And Knight's Revenant is very hungry for a Reviver, right? So, why would you want to pull Rector Drath? One, you haven't finished Knight's Revenant yet, and Rector Drath is a key piece to finishing Knight's Revenant Faction Wars 21. So ifs and some buts about it, Rector Drath can help you finish Faction Wars 21. This passive actually gives some healing as well, right? Resistance buff by 50. This is useful if you're actually building a resistance team. So, because Hydra came along, and this Hydra head that puts on fear every time you try to hit it, I think. Every time you try to hit it, it puts fear on. Rector Drath can help prevent that from happening because the fear doesn't go on if you have Perfect Veil on. That's just a part of the boss's mechanic. And Perfect Veil is a thing for Hydra boss, right? So what did they do to coincide with this guaranteed? So they don't. Do they usually do this? I'm trying to think if they usually do this with a guaranteed champ. Like it comes with a 2x or it comes with a 10x. So I think if it's a guaranteed legendary, it doesn't come with a 2x or a 10x, right? So now it comes with a 10x. So we gotta take a look. As usual, don't even look at the left side of the screen, right? You may or may not get those. That's fine. What we really want to look at is the right side of the screen. So let's knock the Void Epic out of the way. Is Oboro worth getting? It's hard to say, honestly, unless you have a very specific purpose for her. So she may have like an emerging use, but not quite 100% convinced. That's second hit, transferring all debuffs from this champion to the target. And then steal all buffs. Like this seems really useful in Hydra boss, but because you get the built-in Perfect Veil, you get Revive on Death whenever you receive the Perfect Veil, and also you get to transfer all the debuffs from you to the target while also being able to steal buffs, which is kind of strong against one of the Hydra heads that steals the buffs. And does he steal? Yeah, that steals the buff and spreads the buffs. So you kind of like steal it back and buy yourself more time. I don't know. I feel like it's a very specific champ, or maybe there's a use that they've discovered that I haven't figured out yet. Alicia was one of the um, fusion champs that we've been given, right? Who was it that fused? I think this was the one with the Demetha fusion, right? So we all know why she's good. AoE decreased def, and then AoE. What is this? Attacks all enemies, increase duration of all debuffs. So it's a debuff duration increase, which is really strong. Honestly, that is a strong move right there. And a debuff spread effect if enemies are under hex. Okay. And then when attacking enemies under decreased def, also has a 50% chance of placing hex. Yeah, so she is a AoE decreased defense champ with a chance to place hex. I think it's pretty strong, honestly. Alicia is pretty strong. AoE decreased defense for Knight Revenant. Kind of hard to come by. Kind of hard to come by as well for that Fashion Wars. Alicia's great. If you did fuse Sigmund, I think you should have had a Alicia. If you went for Demetha instead of Sigmund, right? You should have Alicia in the bank. Let's take a look at Hugo right here. Hugo is another decreased defense champ, but he puts on block buffs. So block buffs is quickly becoming a very important part of Hydra Boss. But block buffs in general is just really, really good. It's good in Faction Wars. It's good everywhere in the game because a lot of the waves put buffs on themselves. AoE decreased defense with block buffs is really strong, right? And then also you get this like, what is this? If you build Hugo so he kind of survives as the last person on the team, he can get block damage on, and then also revive everybody. It's really, really good, really strong. Interesting. 5-turn cooldown though, so 5-turn cooldown. But then we come into possibly the most important champ for endgame content is Doom Priest at Epic. Because Doom Priest just helps you with a lot of the Doom Tower bosses. Nether Spider, Eternal Dragon, Frost Spider, basically any boss that puts debuffs on you because of this passive right here that you take a debuff away and you heal at the same time. So partners with Seal of the Drakes very, very well, right? So you get a lot of healing. So it's 7.5% of their HP. I think Seal gives 10%. You put both of them on Relentless, basically, and they get consecutive turns. You're healing 15, 20, 35%, almost half your health with just Doom Priest and Seal getting like consecutive turn procs while taking debuffs away and then still possibly putting out that stun or decreased speed, decreased turn meter, right? So yeah, Doom Priest, I think it's very, very strong. And it's probably better than Rector Drath in terms of like being an end game epic. And if you pull 4 Sacred Shards, you get a good chance of pulling Doom Priest. Plus, at the 4th one, you get Rector Drath. So, I know a lot of people don't like it because it's Sacred Shards and you're only getting an epic. But one, if you haven't finished Knights Revenant Faction Wars 21 yet, unfortunately, you may have to pull here. It's just the reality. And then also, if you are thinking of a more long-range type plan, like let's say you just started and you're like, oh, well, eventually I'm going to have to finish Knights Revenant 21. I would probably say hold off on that. For reals. Especially if you need the Sacreds to do the fusion events, right? If you've already calculated you have enough points to do the fusion events, it's 500 per Sacred Shard for Summon Rush. So you need about 6 on hand, 4 or 6, unless you have the Mystery Shards and Void Shards to compensate. So it's 4 Void Shards for every 1 Sacred Shard for Summon Rush, roughly, and then, Mystery Shards are the best. Ancient Shards usually is good for, like, Champ Chase. So yeah, I would say make some calculations, see if you can afford to spare the 4 sacred shards to secure your Knights Revenant faction wars, right? Other than that, the Hydra boss and I think I used him in Eternal Dragon. I used Rector Drath in Eternal Dragon. Otherwise, Doom Priest is the prize here, to be honest. I really like her, and if you can gamble for one, I think you should go for it. Yeah. So um, hopefully you've had shards left over, and you can get a Rector Draft or Doom Priest if any of those are champs you need. Alicia and Hugo are actually fantastic consolation prizes as well if you manage to bag them. They're really, really strong as well. Other than that, that's it, guys. We'll see you all next time.